Gosh darn triangular shaped bits. Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office. You may remember a while ago I was lent a battery jump starting device by my good friend Tim, and I proceeded to get into all sorts of calamity in it, trying to weld things and just basically cause mischief. But since then, actually, in my real life, I've had the reason to actually obtain some of these for an actual real project. So I thought I'd just show you them because they're slightly different, or quite a bit different really, from the previous model. So I thought we'd just actually have a quick look through to see really what they can do, what they can't do, and how they differ. So I can't remember the specs though entirely of the one we reviewed in the other video, the Tim's one, but that one actually had the whole laptop charging. Remember, it could do 12 volts, 7 volts, 17 volts, 19 volts, things like that on a specific output pin. This one though is sold primarily more as a sort of a boosty, jump starter-y type thing rather than general purpose power pack. So into the actual kit, let's see what you get first. Let's just get rid of the accessories out of the way. So that looks like a lighter socket. So yes, you have a 5-volt output, which has got a USB, the 12-volt jump starter pins, an on-off switch. Here we go. You have a 12-volt 10 amps output and a 14 volts 1 amp input. It's a bit shame about the 14 volts 1 amp input because it does technically mean you're not going to be able to charge it from your car. Saying that though, it does appear to have a lighter charger as well as a normal power charger, so maybe it will charge off 12 if you need to. Keep it trickled up while you're driving along. But let's get rid of the accessories because we don't really care about that. It obviously comes in quite a nice, hard, soft case, if you know what I mean. Crocodile clips, very nice. USB cable, yeah, good. That's good for charging your phone up. Again, throw that in the bag. That's quite nice. If you have to take these on aeroplane, this is why I specifically bought these, by the way. There is a limit on how much you can carry in your aeroplane things, and you certainly can't carry these in hold luggage or any kind of battery booster. But technically, this is a 55 watt hour, and I think you're allowed up to 100 watt hour, something like that per unit. So I think you're okay if you carry them on and you carry on like that, you know, because you've got them in your hand. You can see they're secure, they're safe, they're not shorting out in your bag in the hold. So let's go through the functions. So you have an on-off switch. Well, we could look through the instructions, of course. This is the model CP07724. Usual precautions. And let's see, you've got the on-off switch, LED light. Blah blah blah. I mean, just going through, it does show you jump starting a Jeep, so that's a good thing. You know what, let's just figure it out as we go along. On off switch, which I think that's for the power bank functionality actually. That'll be my guess. Let's see, it's in, is it actually on the on? Oh, so that's the torch. I just held the button down, torch came on and the power bank thing went off. Yeah, so I think it was in the on position, but that's fine. So the on-off switch is going to control that. I'm going to leave it in off, and I'm just going to quickly probe here because I don't think there's a way you can actually turn off the whole car side of these things. So let's just see, because it would be way too much current. Yeah, so you've got a measured 12.5 volts on that output. So it could be a little bit higher, to be honest, for cranking. But there is this boost thing. Don't know what that does. We might have a little play with that. So anyway, when it's in off position, it doesn't do anything. You've got to switch it on, and that turns on the power bank clearly, and possibly whatever this boost is will look. So the torch has these various annoying modes, which could be useful, I suppose. Nice charging thing, 2 amps output. That's going to charge your phone up pretty good. Now the boost, let's play with this boost because that seems to be the most interesting thing. So I'm going to knock it off. It's in off position. Let's just try this now. So we got our voltmeter. Going to hold it on its end. We got our probes, jam them in. This is interesting actually because it's got an extra third pin in there, and I'll show you that in a moment. So 12.47 volts. I'm going to hold down the boost. The unit is still in off technically, doesn't do anything. Switch it to on. Let's hold down that boost, see what it does. Nothing. So that boost, I don't know what that does. So we've got the cable. This probably has, I'm going to guess without dismantling this has the diodes in it. You've seen Big Clive's review of these. They have diodes to protect the unit. I'm going to plug this in and just look in there is an additional pin there, like a jack, like a banana connector. So I'm not sure how that's actually connected up, but we'll plug that in. Okay. I think I just turned on the light as I was doing that. So I'm going to again leave it in the off position and hold boost, see if that does anything. It does. Makes you wonder, what does this on-off switch actually do? I'm going to hold it down again. Doesn't seem to make the light go off, and then if I unplug that, it does. Weird. I think it's time to get the old crocodile clips on our meter. So we're kind of deciphering these things, really. I know we could read the manual, but I'm just fascinated by what is boost in this scenario. Okay, so the banana clips are... I'm going to hold that one by hand. Ah, that's weird. So we're not getting any volts, though, when directly connected. But I'm going to hold the boost down. 12.59. So I'm guessing there's potentially a protection circuit in there. What could it be though? Some juicy MOSFETs? That is very odd though. So it does sort of imply though that there's some sort of protection going on. So when you're hitting the boost, it's activating something in here, but clearly you've got power there anyway, so you could short it out. Right, I think it's time to actually do a teardown. I think that's the only way we're going to learn anything about the power jump starter 1500 milliamp. Just to give you an idea though, this pack here is also a this is a 10,000 milliamp hours, 5 volts, 2 amps. So an interesting size difference in these, but then you'd expect that. I need some security screw bits. I shall be back in a moment. So I've been racking through all my boxes, security bits, and I cannot find one of these gosh darn triangular shaped bits. So what I'm just going to have to do is I'm going to take this regular, normal sort of flathead screwdriver, and I'm going to grind it down. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to just file the hell out of it and see if I can make myself one of these bits. The really annoying thing is I know I've got one of these bits. I can almost imagine it, see it in my head in the kit. But yeah, that kit eludes me right now. So I'm going to check back in just a moment. Oh, my life. There we go. So that took an awful amount of adjusting. And I'm hoping the camera can focus. There you go. So I chopped the end of that screwdriver off, more or less, and then just ran it through a tiny grinding wheel that's designed for sharpening knives, so you could imagine how long that take. But it worked. I wouldn't advise doing it unless you're really stuck. Maybe I'll show you how to do that when I start some sort of new season on prepping or something like that. But it does work like a charm. It's quite satisfying though, I'm going to have to say. It is satisfying to kind of make your own tool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's Andrew's tool. We're going to keep Andrew's tool. The only downside is, of course, it's pretty specific for this one size, and it did take, 10 minutes to bloody whittle down. But that's fine. That's fine. That'll just make it all the more fun when I find the actual tool that I bought for that. But, don't be afraid to do things like that. You can find all the pieces probably just in your garage or workshop, just those cheap tools. I mean, this was a pretty cheap set, and you can see it's just like the one-off. You've not seen these in my videos before because all the other ones have kind of got lost or in the bottom of a drawer. I've been using them to dig stuff out of car wheels and they've got bent. So that makes them the perfect tool to do this for. The steel is not too hard, so it's just about right for machining. But anyway, let's not worry about that. We've got all of the battery base screws out. Will it come out? It will. It will indeed. So I'm going to open up all the flappy paddle things because they're part of that base, and I'm just going to gingerly give it a little wiggle. So I can see, of course, we've got a membrane on the front, so there's going to be a bit of a horrible scenario here because the battery and PCB are going to be somehow connected to that membrane, so I'm going to be very cautious because of course I need this tool. I don't want to knacker it. And I could hear you shouting at me going, well, if you don't want to knack it, why are you messing with it? Cool, look, there you go. It isn't actually it's a membrane cover with some dome caps, but actually, look, underneath it's got these plastic doohickeys. I do like that design. I proposed that design a long time ago to somebody. They didn't listen to me. In fact, they had a regular membrane made. Expensive. So there you go, that's the light, and it has a kind of a little seal. That's kind of cute. I mean, I don't think really this is a sealed unit. Definitely isn't, but it's nice to know it's got something in there. There's your big old cell. Interestingly, the plastic is a red coloured plastic. I'm going to be quite cautious now because we've got this rather juicy lithium battery here. I don't want to go wrong here. It's right nice little micro tack switches with very long caps. Don't cross the streams. Just looking at the top just to see if there's anything discernible. This IC is a mystery IC, unfortunately. Key 2. So we have a power switch somewhere. Oh, there's 2 PCBs. So there's your LED. Just a kind of a dome type affair. So the battery's coming up to this top board, which is, I want to say, acting as some sort of charging circuit. It's being controlled to here. So there's probably some power controller stuff here because this is where the on-off switch is all on. And actually you can see these big lugs, look at that, soldered in. Massively thick lumps of metal there. Let's see if I can flex this at all. I want to see if I can just get the battery, but I think it's stuck down. Let me manhandle it this way a bit. I think it's a combination of stuck or yeah, it's definitely stuck. You can hear it peeling. Okay, well, I don't think we're going to learn anything taking that off. It has its rating. It'd be nice to see its rating on the battery itself, but you've got it here, the 15,000 milliamp hours. So there's not really much to see, guys, I'm afraid. So you just got some basic circuitry and it goes straight out to this port, which has, remember we had that little thing with the boost light? Ah, the diodes, by the way, are in there. Looks like it's got some big old diode packs in there. So maybe it's doing that diode. Shit, what was that? I scared myself and I don't know why. No, yeah, I think it's okay. I thought maybe something was sizzling there. I had my finger on the circuit board. Yeah, scary stuff. Let's not worry about that. So yeah, I think that's the diode packs in there. Does that make sense? Yes, because you've got the battery positive is coming in. God, it's a pain, isn't it? There you go. Actually, the battery positive is coming in and going straight to this terminal. The battery negative, yes, is going via a bunch of components on the other side that look like big ass diode packs. So yeah, that's kind of got that diode protection there. So what is in here? So we knew that thing does seem to operate some sort of boost light. I'm starting to wonder if it was worthwhile dismantling, or rather making that screwdriver to dismantle this at this point. Not too much we can learn really, but you know, let's persevere. Sheesh, that's nothing. Ooh. So all you've got in there is just the 2 terminals straight through, and that center pin is connected to the live side. So that's what's basically acting as the interlock to allow it to, well, what is it doing? That is so strange. Because you remember we measured there was no voltage on there until we actually had it turned on. But when we actually measured directly from there, it's very peculiar. Very peculiar indeed. I'm thinking, did I have my probes the wrong way? Could it be because of those diodes? No. Very, very odd. I'm just going to screw it back together enough because I don't want to mess too much with lots of raw wires with that battery around. Again, I'm not really that worried about the battery bursting into flames, although that has to be a consideration. I'm more worried about damaging this unit because I actually have to use it. There's the tip of that screwdriver, by the way, when I chopped it off. So let's just do that test one last time, just as a sort of sanity check. So there's our meter. We're going to measure the positive and negative. 12.47 volts. Nice and clear, 12.47 volts. We're going to plug in our doodad. And I'm going to measure on the probes. You'll have to take my word for it, they're just off camera. Nothing. So that's really weird. What I think's happening, I'll tell you what I think is happening here. I think that pin there, that positive being fed back into that particular pin in here, is just disabling something. So some of those big old fat things we saw, which look like diodes and whatnot, maybe they're MOSFETs or something, and it's basically preventing, you know, the power from going through. But it's a very peculiar thing all round, I have to say. I mean, how else could you do it? I suppose you could just not have I suppose you could put the 12 volts potential on the negative as well, so you wouldn't get any current through either, but I don't know what they're doing. How about we put our LED back first properly? That is it's a very strange sort of safety interlock, because it's all kind of on board, and it looks like if you, I'm not going to do it, but if I put some wires here, I think they would just frazzle, regardless of if that pin is that boost option is on or off. But perhaps it's going to give you at least the illusion of safety. Just trying to get our lens assembly in. I suspect it's going to be a big pain in the arse. Let's just get the LED in and just crack on with it. So I'm wondering what sort of enabler technologies, if we're going to describe them as that, has allowed this sort of thing to happen. Well, I think you've got these lithium batteries. I don't know if they're lithium polymer, lithium ion right now. And they've obviously got very good density, but they've got different ways of wrapping the battery when they put them in the machines, and they sort of spray them. It's like it looks, if you ever see the videos on it, it's like a sort of, imagine a tin foil, and then they kind of spray it with this stuff, and they're spraying, that's the ions getting applied. And they've discovered if they wrap it in different ways, you can go for a higher current for a shorter time and things like that. So that's why these can exist as jumper batteries, which will just dump bunches of current out in one go. Look at this bloody thing. Look at that. It's just a seal, but incredibly difficult to apply. And there you go. It's kind but you can't see at all how that's going to work in operation. I discovered the trick to that. It was really easy. You just put a bit of flob on it and it slides in. So there you go. A little bit of lubrication goes a long way. Get the switches. I'm trying to get these switches in the right position. Shouldn't be too difficult. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can pop this switch out. And I can. Excellent. That surprisingly wasn't too bad. I thought the LED was going to give me trouble, but it didn't. Let's get our little switch in. Seems to go in either way. Yep, good. That's nice. The last of the screws. So let's have a little read on the back while we're doing this. Operating temperature -20 to 60 degrees C. Good. Peak current 600 amps. Output 3 12 volts jump start. So you've got output 1, which is the 5 volts. Output 3 12 volts jump start. Output 2 12 volts 10 amps. So there you go. So that's 300 amps for your, say, inverter or whatever you're running off that. 600 amps to crank your battery. So some of those components could be determining the limits, I guess, of those, because they might be running off technically different power supplies inside. Check and make sure the jump starter has enough power over 2 lights. Plug the ingenious spark-free clamps. Okay, so that's probably it. It's part of the ingenious spark-freeness, so they're not connected to the power until you hold down that boost button, it seems. So that's all that is acting as. That's just acting as a sort of switch, it seems. Connect the red clamp to the positive before you connect the negative. Before jump start, check the jump start indicator on the jump start, which is next to the boost button. If the green light is on, it means ready to jump start. If the red is on, means incorrect connection of the clamp and battery terminal. So it's got some sort of reverse current detection. If the red is blinking, it means that over discharge or reverse charge protection is activated or a low battery. If no lights, press the boost button by 3 seconds until the green indicator lights up. Means ready to jump start. Once vehicle is started, remove the jumper clamps from the vehicle battery terminals. And we kind of can test this, actually. I do happen to have a car battery here. And unfortunately, it does have an awful lot of copper grease applied. Bloody copper grease. There we go. Now, I'm not even convinced this battery has a problem, but I took it off a vehicle because I thought it was a battery problem. So we can hook this up to here. Negative. Oh, it did say do positive first, to be fair to it. There was no sparks. That light just came on by itself, even though it was off, technically. Okay. So I'm not really totally convinced that the unit actually has to be on for this to work, but let's see what it says here. See if there's any hint at all when it's running. So we've got 12.6 volts there, more or less. I'm going to hold down the boost. Not sure what I'm seeing. I'm turning it to the on position and I'm going to hold down the boost. Well, I'm at a loss. I don't really know if it's doing anything. If we measure it without 12.61 this battery is reading, and then when I connect the clamp, 12.6. So I don't know, it's bringing the battery down. I think this battery's okay, this one. So odd, don't know. Hard to say, really. As if we need a car battery here on the back of this. But that's that. Hopefully it'll work when I need it. And that's what's inside them. Thanks for watching.